I'm Rosie Hardy, this is Rosie Hardy Gardening. Welcome to the end of the month's question and answer session. So let's get on with it. What plants do you recommend for creating a privacy hedge? I'm assuming you mean something that is relatively fast growing and quite tall. There are certain things out there. One of the best things, I know a lot of people don't like this particular plant, but that is the cherry laurel, Prunus laurociosus rotundifolia. It is a good thing. Otherwise, you can do something like a pyracantha. That will also make a good privacy hedge. So those are two suggestions for you. Someone here said they were happy that 2 of their Goras managed to survive the winter. One was whirling butterflies, it's nice, compact and upright. The other one is a pink one, doesn't know the name, and it's flopping all over the place and wants to know if giving it a cut back. They are on improved clay in South Gloucestershire, so that is just down the road from us here, and wants to know if it will make a bushier plant. And the answer is, without knowing the actual cultivar, then perhaps that could be its habit, but nearly always giving them a cut back to about 6 inches, probably, about, what's that, 15 centimetres. That will give you a much sturdier plant for the growth to come from, and it will look far, far better. So my advice is, yes, do cut it back. This one is, somebody is new to gardening on Vancouver Island, and they've got some hellebores. Looks like they've got a couple of varieties. The leaves are now incredibly large and wants to know when to cut back the foliage and when to cut back the flowers. So basically, when the plants have finished flowering, they will put on seed heads. If you don't want the seed heads there because you don't want more seedlings around the place, then cut the flowers off at that time. You can also cut down any of the really big old foliage at that time as well, creating a nice, neat and tidy plant. Now, normally in the spring, just before flowering, you would take off any old leaves so that you get to see the beauty of the flowers coming through. Someone here is in zone 7 and they want to know whether it's safe to overwinter Verbena bonariensis outside in a container. That is hardy to zone between 7 and 10, so it's right on the edge of its hardiness. Now, I would say yes, you could probably push it, but the container needs to stay dry, so you need to put the container somewhere where it's in a rain shadow, where it's not going to get soaking wet through the winter. And then I would be extra cautious and put a bit of bubble wrap or something like that around the outside of the pot, and that should then help. Somebody here who is wanting to know, they've got poor sandy soil on a slope. Plants tend to die even if they've fed them and put them in there, and wanting some suggestions. So what I would suggest, now you've got sunny and shady bits, Armeria would like those sort of conditions, Artemisia schmittiana nana. Some of the lower growing teucriums are quite happy in that type of soil. Saxifrages will go into a shadier bit. Any of the Hylotelephiums, especially the smaller growing ones, will be fine on very dry soil, and so will the spring flowering sedums. So that's a little bit of a selection. Do try some of those. Somebody's asking, when they were pulling out some weeds, they managed to pull out, actually pull out their Jackmanii clematis, because they were pulling out unwanted vines, and want to know what the difference is between Jackmanii and Jackmanii superba. Now, the answer to that is quite a simple one. Jackmanii superba is a new breeding. They have improved the breeding of the old variety, bigger petals, better colour and more disease resistant. Somebody has a question about the Marina longifolia. Now, this is a beautiful plant and wants to know, when it has finished flowering, can they cut off the flower stem? And the answer to that is yes, you can cut off the flower stem. It's not going to harm the plant. It may help it to put on more growth at the base, and it will look really good. The only thing will be, if you cut off the flower head, you will not be able to collect seed. So you've got to decide which you want to do. Then lastly, I've got another question that just came in, and this is about the fact that we are always told to put in more organic matter into our borders, And this gentleman or person uses their own compost, but quite often runs out. So basically they wanted to know whether multi-purpose peat-free compost is a good substitute. And really the answer to that is no, because you are wasting a product that has been produced for you to use in containerized potting or for doing cuttings, etc. So don't waste it in the garden. You are better off getting what is bagged up and called farmyard, or getting well-rotted manure from somewhere. The things that are called farmyard are basically the waste product from biodigesters. So they are full of organic matter, far better for putting in and helping with your soil. I hope that these questions help other people, and thank you very much for watching the channel, and please do subscribe.